Hi, I'm Geeta Srinivasan. In this video, we are going to see about properties in C Sharp. So, what is properties? So, in class, we have various members. Properties is also one of the class member, which provides a convenient way to do some computations or do assign some value or return values of a particular private field. So, now what is a field? The variables and methods of a class are referred as the fields. In C Sharp, we have accessors, which is referred as the get property accessor and set property accessor. So we will see more about the accessors. So here, as I already mentioned, we have get accessor and set property accessor, which is mainly used for returning a value or assigning some value to the variables or properties. So in some classes we can have just get accessor alone, or else you can include both get as well as set accessors. So the set accessor can be declared private if needed. So if you want to achieve abstraction, we can make the set accessor private so that the particular property cannot be changed outside the class. Now let us see about the syntax. So here as usual we will have the class name, and then inside that we will have a declaration of a variable, normal declaration, but that particular variable is going to be of private so that it cannot be accessed outside the class. So for this particular member, we are going to include the getter and setter. So here for the same variable name, we are going to give the getter. So the syntax to do that is it will include the getter, and the getter will just return the value. And inside the setter, we are going to assign the value to the variable name. So now let us look into an example. Now we are going to see an example. So here I have created a simple application, and this particular application includes the program.cs file. In addition, I have created a book class. This book class, it has some three members: name, price, and category. So in the program.cs file, in the main function, I have created instance for the book class and then assigned values for the members of the book class, that is the name, price, and category. And then just I am going to display the value of the name of the book, price, and category. Now let us execute this program and see the output. So now when we check the output, so here we have the values, the name of the book as artificial intelligence, and then the price, and then the category. So here in the name and prices are properties. So it includes the getter and setter. But the category is a field, it didn't include any accessors. So here what happens whenever you want to achieve some abstraction, then it is necessary to use the properties. So only if you have the accessors, you can change the accessibility levels of a particular variable or fields according to your requirements. So here now both the name and price are public properties, and category is also a public property. Now let us check what happens when we access the category outside the class. So here in the main function, here we were able to access the category as book.category and we received the output as education. But if I change the modifying this to private, so now it is inaccessible due to its protection level. So I think you could see this because this category and book.category, we couldn't access this here because we changed the modifier to private. So here I want to access the category in the program.cs file, but I should not allow to set any values. Okay, so I must restrict assigning values. So how can we do that? So we need some abstraction, right? We must allow them to access, but we should not allow to write assign any values to this category. We can achieve that by using the property. So now I'm going to make this as property. So to do that, instead of typing the entire thing, I'm going to just type prop full, and then I'm going to enter the tab. So here now if you see, we have all the getters and setters. So here instead of int, whatever you want to your data type to be, you can include that. And here my variable name is going to be the category. So I'm going to make this as category. So here the same thing, instead of my property, I want this particular variable name as category. So here we have to remove this. So now I'm now so here our property just includes single statements, single implementation, right? So instead of writing like this, we can change this to, so we can write like this. This is referred as expression bodied member. So both represents the same thing. So instead, if it is a single statement, you do not include any further validations, you can straight away write like this. So this is referred as expression bodied member. So here in the category, while assigning a value, if I want to restrict only to education, I should not allow other categories such as games, fictional stories, and entertainment, something like that. I can do that inside the set property. So I can validate something like this. So here, what I'm going to do, instead of direct, so now this is not going to be the single statement. So I'm again changing this. So here I'm going to do some validation. So here I'm going to do some validation. To do that, here inside the setter, I'm going to check whether the value is, if the value only if it is equal to the education, I'm going to assign the value to the category. Or otherwise, if it is not equal to education, I can throw some exception, or I can display something, or otherwise I can just mention not valid. Suppose here, if I want to mention something else in the else case, in that case, I'm going to just say, so if it is other than education, I'm just going to display that as invalid. Or otherwise, so if I want to do validation in a simple statement, so I can use the conditional operator, and I can rewrite the same code in a simplified format. Similar to setters, if you want to do some validation in the getter, we can also do that. So in addition to the simple category information, even if you want to add some additional information, you can return that value. Or otherwise, if you want to do some validation, like if certain value is null, if you want to return something else, and if it is not null, you want to return some other value, in that case you can do some validation and return in the getter. Now in the setter, if you want to set or assign values only inside the class, and if you want to restrict accessing or assigning outside the class, in that case you can make the setter alone as a private field. Similarly, you can set getter alone as private. So or all our properties. Here we have a simple property. We have not done any validation, but in the category, for in the inside the setter, we are doing some validation that that category must be an education. So here it will initialize with the default values. Suppose if you want to initialize with the values other than default, you can give like this. So outside the set braces, you can give the value like this. But for the field, suppose if I have another member which is going to be the ID, here this one is a field. I have not included getter and setter. So this is a field. If I want to initialize some value, I can do that here itself. During the declaration, I can initialize the ID value. But for the property, if I do like this is auto implemented property. This is a normal getter and setter. The getter will return the value and the setter will assign the value. And if you want to initialize with the values other than default, you can give like this. Now we have seen everything about the properties. Now let us execute and check the output. So in the program.cs file, we have assigned the category as entertainment. Now let me change this to something else like gaming. So now let us execute and check the output. So now when we see the output window, we have the name of the book, the price and the category as invalid. Since we tried to assign category with the value gaming, all values other than education will be assigned with the value invalid. So that's all about the properties. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, subscribe to my channel, Programming Info by GS. Thank you.